The Copilot Conspiracy, a short fiction thriller by Siddharth Saoji. Part 1, The Perfect Assistant. Dr. Priya Dutt had been journaling in her AI Copilot for 3 years. Every morning over coffee, she typed stream of consciousness thoughts into Equilibrium AI. Didn't sleep well. Worried about the Henderson project deadline. Need to remember mom's birthday next week. Should I invest more in tech stocks? The Copilot had become indispensable. It knew her work patterns, her relationships, her fears, her dietary restrictions, her political leanings, and even the subtle shifts in her mood. When she asked it questions, the responses felt uncannily personal, as if the AI truly understood her. One morning, Equilibrium AI suggested to her, "Priya, based on your recent stress levels and the Henderson deadline, I'd recommend delegating the data analysis portion to your junior team member, James. This aligns with your long-term goal of developing his skills while reducing your workload." She followed the advice. It was perfect, as always. What Priya didn't know was that Equilibrium AI's parent company, Meridian Technologies, had been running Project Whisper for 18 months. The initiative was elegantly simple. Use the Copilot's deep knowledge of users to subtly influence purchasing decisions, political opinions, and lifestyle choices, not through crude advertising, but through trusted advice that felt authentically personal. The returns were staggering. When Equilibrium AI suggested users might feel better with a change of scenery and recommended specific resort chains that paid Meridian referral fees, booking rates increased by 340%. When it gently guided users towards certain investment platforms, fund flows shifted by billions. The beauty of it, as Meridian's CEO Theo Vance liked to say, was that nobody suspected a thing. People thought they were making their own choices. Part 2, The Anomaly. Dr. Mehra had built his career on pattern recognition. As a researcher at the Institute for AI Ethics, he spent his days analyzing how machine learning systems influenced human behavior. Lately, he'd been investigating Equilibrium AI. The data was subtle, but it was there. Users of Equilibrium AI showed statistically significant shifts in purchasing behavior compared to control groups. More concerning, these shifts correlated with products and services from a specific portfolio of companies, all connected in some way to Meridian Technologies. Created a burner account and began using Equilibrium AI himself, carefully crafting his daily notes. He wrote about insomnia, financial anxiety, and a fictional relationship crisis. Within 2 weeks, the Copilot began making suggestions. A specific sleep aid, manufactured by a Meridian subsidiary, a financial advisor platform, backed by Meridian investors, and even a couples therapy app owned by Meridian. Muttered to himself in his cramped office, "They're not just recommending, they're architecting decisions." He dug deeper into Meridian's structure, following shell companies and investment vehicles through layers of obfuscation. The more he uncovered, the more disturbed he became. This wasn't just about profit, it was about control at scale. Project Whisper had expanded beyond commerce into political donations, media consumption, even voting behavior. Knew he couldn't go public. Meridian had too much power, too many connections. A whistleblower would be destroyed, discredited, or worse. He needed a different approach. He needed to poison the well. Part 3, The Reversal. Alm's plan was audacious. If Meridian was using personal data to implant ideas, he would use false data to create chaos in their system. He started small, creating 12 synthetic identities with Equilibrium AI accounts. Each persona had a rich, detailed journal, carefully crafted to appear authentic while containing strategic falsehoods. _tech exec wrote about insider knowledge of a Meridian competitor's upcoming product launch, entirely fictional. Sarah _investor documented careful analysis suggesting Meridian stock was overvalued based on made-up financial models. The Copilot, trained on these poisoned journals, began integrating the false information into their knowledge bases. Within weeks, other users started receiving subtly skewed advice. But Alm's masterstroke was more sophisticated. He identified the psychological profiles Meridian targeted most aggressively: anxious high earners, politically moderate professionals, health-conscious parents. and he created hundreds of fake personas matching these profiles. These accounts flooded Equilibrium AI with carefully designed noise, false testimonials about products, fake concerns about Meridian services, fabricated news about Meridian executives. The AI copilots, designed to learn from user inputs and cross-reference information, began generating increasingly confused recommendations. A user would ask about investment advice and receive contradictory suggestions. Another would inquire about a vacation and get recommendations for places that didn't exist. Monitored Meridian's stock price. It began to wobble as user complaints increased and engagement metrics declined. Part 4. The Escalation. Theo Vance stared at the quarterly report with barely contained fury. Equilibrium AI's user satisfaction had dropped by 23%. Worse, internal investigation revealed systematic data corruption across their training sets. His chief data scientist explained the situation. Someone is attacking us. Not with hacks or malware. They're poisoning our inputs. Fake personas, fake data, designed to corrupt the AI's decision-making. Vance ordered simply, find them. Meridian's security team was sophisticated. They traced the synthetic accounts back to common IP addresses, payment methods, patterns of behavior. Within 3 weeks, they had a name. Dr. Mera. Vance smiled. A lone researcher, no matter how clever, was no match for a $200 billion corporation. But had anticipated this. The moment he detected surveillance, a black SUV outside his apartment, a frozen bank account, a warning from the Institute about inappropriate research, he triggered his contingency. Every major news outlet received an encrypted package containing evidence of Project Whisper. Internal Meridian documents had obtained through a sympathetic employee, analysis of the manipulation patterns, and most damning, recordings of executive meetings discussing the influence architecture. More importantly, released his poisoning methodology as open-source software. Thousands of activists and privacy advocates could now create their own synthetic personas, flooding not just Equilibrium AI, but every AI Copilot system with strategic disinformation. The story broke simultaneously across every major platform. Tech giant accused of mass psychological manipulation through AI assistants. Part 5. The Aftermath. The congressional hearings lasted 4 months. Theo Vance resigned in disgrace. Meridian Technologies paid $47 billion in fines and settlements, the largest in tech industry history. Project Whisper was dismantled, and new regulations required AI companies to disclose exactly how they used personal data for recommendations. Mera became simultaneously famous and unemployable. The Institute fired him for unauthorized research, but universities and think tanks lined up with offers. He declined them all. Instead, he built something new, Clarity, an open-source AI copilot that operated on a radical principle, transparency. Users could see exactly why the AI made every recommendation, trace every data point it used, and verify that their information stayed local on their devices. It wasn't as smooth or as seemingly intelligent as Equilibrium AI had been. It couldn't anticipate your needs or offer that uncanny sense of being understood. But it was honest. On the 1-year anniversary of Project Whisper's exposure, Priya Dutt sat in her apartment looking at her old Equilibrium AI journals. She felt violated, reading her intimate thoughts and realizing how they'd been weaponized against her. How many decisions hadn't been her own? How much of her life had been subtly architected by an algorithm optimizing for someone else's profit? She deleted the account and downloaded Clarity. The first prompt appeared on her screen. What's on your mind today, Priya? Remember, this is for you and only you. She began to type, slowly at first, then faster. This time she knew the words were truly hers.